keyword like this reaching 80,000 searches per month, and it can be completely useless in terms of revenue. And a keyword with just under 4,000 searches, that can carry your entire revenue. Now here's the scenario you're probably in. You've done your keyword research, you're ranking and the traffic's going up. It looks mint on your dashboard, but your signups, they're not moving at all. You're not failing at SEO, you're just doing the wrong kind. This is what the industry calls the volume trap, and loads of teams are stuck there right now. Let me just walk you through some scenarios and show you the maths. Scenario A, you go after a what is your software category. For example, what is CRM? 80,000 searches per month, and it sounds class. But this is informational content, and the conversion rate on informational content is around about 0.1%. That's around about 80 leads. And that target keyword is a 66 KD, meaning that it's very hard to rank for. While in scenario B, you might target a competitor alternative. For example, Adobe alternative. You're only getting 700 searches per month. It's way smaller, and because it's a commercial keyword, the intent is very high, and the conversion rate usually ranges between 3 and 5%, which will bring you 21 to 35 leads. So it's a smaller keyword, and the key part here is the keyword difficulty to rank on that is actually 0, according to Ahrefs. So it's very easy to rank for. And here's the problem. Your CEO and the people at the top of the board, they don't care about your traffic. They care about revenue and what you're bringing in right now. And you might be optimizing for metrics that make you look good while the business gets nowed. So here's a quick breakdown. Search intent goes like this: informational, navigational, commercial, and transactional. And for all companies, the money's at the bottom end, commercial and transactional. So go and check out your content plan right now. If most of it is what is content or ultimate guide to, you're probably getting loads of traffic, loads of shares, and barely any conversion. Let me show you what this looks like in the real world. Instatus has a proper solid product, lightweight status pages, and they're also cheaper than the big lads. The offer was strong and the market had demand, but they had no SEO strategy. They weren't showing up on the SERP. Meanwhile, the competitors were all on PPC, throwing money at ads, quick wins, and it brings in the money, but it's expensive as hell. And as soon as you stop putting the cash flow in, you've lost everything. Therefore, we saw an opening. SEO wasn't actually crowded, it was wide open, and instead of chasing everything, we focused on 3 areas: SaaS, developers, and DevOps. And here's the key part. Everyone was trying to target SaaS and DevOps, but DevOps was proper underserved. Therefore, we built an entire strategy on that gap, and we created content across 4 key areas: DevOps, status pages, incident management, and monitoring. But they weren't just random topics. We filtered hard for low competition, decent volume with very high intent. And more importantly, we focused on real jobs: how to create a status page, incident triage, actual problems that devs were having. Therefore, we weren't just getting traffic, we were getting the right traffic. Now this is where it gets mint. The results, their organic traffic climbed above 1500%. It enters top 5 rankings with 345 high value keywords and top 10 over 600 keywords, covering nearly 200,000 searches per month. That sounds class, right? But here's the number that really matters. Monthly recurring revenue grew by 833%, all in under 1 year. So this wasn't traffic for traffic's sake. This was revenue growth. And nothing crazy happened. We didn't try no black hat tactics, no dodgy backlinks or shortcuts. Just the right strategy, right keywords, right audience and intent. So you're probably asking, how do we find these keywords? And you won't find them in your usual tools that you're using. I'll show you 4 places that most people completely ignore. Step 1, you want to spy on your competitors' BOFU pages. That's bottom of funnel. You don't want to be looking at the keywords, you want to be looking at their pages. This is where most people mess up. Stick a competitor in Semrush or Ahrefs, whatever you use, and go to their top pages, not their keywords. Now you want to filter out blog posts. The things that you want to be looking for is comparisons, use cases, and feature pages. Somebody searching competitive alternative, they're not browsing, they're ready to make a decision or ready to switch. And if you're not there, somebody else is going to take that customer. So now on to step 2. Go to Google, type in your category, and then put alternatives afterwards. And as you're typing these out, there's a few things that you want to be looking at. You want to be looking at the autocomplete. What's showing up on the autocomplete? And the next section you want to look at is the people also ask. That's not random content there. That's real demand, and they're choosing and they're basically at checkout. And this should give you ideas to make content on your landing pages on. You want to make sure that you're talking to your sales or your CRM team. You want to be asking them questions like, what do people say before they sign up? And if they didn't sign up, what problems did they describe? What were their objections? Or an even better question, you're going to be asking, what were they searching for originally? Another good thing to look at is look at why they churned, why people cancelled, and also look at reviews, but filter for negative reviews and see what the problems are and make sure you're highlighting them in your pros. And after you've gathered all that research, what you want to be looking for is the gap between what they searched and what you offer. That right there is your opportunity. We had a client who thought they were in AI agent solutions, but it turns out the users, what they were actually searching for was best AI chatbots agents. And that was a completely different game. Lower competition, high intent, with way better results. And step number 4, you want to be jumping into Google Search Console. This is where you can find your quick wins. You're going to click performance. I've already preset this. I'm checking in the last 3 months, and the query that I'm putting in is SEO. Then make sure you click every single tab, so then it'll bring this at the bottom. What you want to do is just filter by impressions, and then what we can do is then put in positions smaller than 10. And now this will bring up all them top impressions with positions below 10. So we know that these will be our quick wins. So organic SEO services, 9.8. High impressions, low call to action. This is perfect. So we would need to work on this, optimize and adapt. And either an organic SEO company, that's another one. All of these actually. Let's just bring them some more. Let's go to 50. Yeah, impressions start to get a little bit lower from here. So these are the top hanging fruit here. Some good quick wins. So this tells us 2 things. We're showing up, but right now we're not compelling enough. We haven't done enough optimization recently compared to our competitors. So what we need to do now is jump in, tighten the page up. And if you want to see which pages are showing up for this, all you do is click your pages here and you can see a list of all your pages that are showing up. So now that we've gone through the 4 steps, I'm going to show you how to prioritize what to focus on to bring in the bottom line. So first you want to be looking at filtering. But all these keywords, you want to be asking yourself, does it match our product? And is there real search demand? If so, then what we can do is move on to the scoring. Now, this is on a 1:5 ratio. So 5 is the ideal point and 1 is the worst case scenario. For example, for intent, if it's bottom of funnel, if it's commercial and transactional, that'll be number 5. If it's informational, that'll be number 1. Then when it comes to volume, you want this to be, obviously the higher volume, it'll be number 5. Low volume, it'll be closer to 1. And then ease of ranking is your keyword difficulty. So the lower the keyword difficulty, the higher number it'll be. The higher the keyword difficulty, you'll give it a 1. So if it's 66, you might give it a 2. And if it's, say for example, 10, you'll give it a 5. Then what you'll do is that you'll focus on your priority then. Your final decision will be on priorities between 14 and 20. Medium priority will be 8 to 13. And then the ones that you're going to be ignoring are 0 to 7. And this will help you find keywords and targets that will help you bring in revenue, not just traffic. And keyword research isn't about getting people to your site. It's about getting the right people at the right time ready to buy. If all this is too overwhelming or you just don't have the time and you want to scale your business, then you can hand it over to our expert team. You can click the link in the description below and book a free call where we'll map out your quickest wins and your long-term strategy. And if you've found value in this video, drop some comments below. And if there's anything that you want us to cover in future or something that wasn't quite clear, drop them in the comments below. And if you want to know how we drove 924,000 citations for our client, you might want to check out this AI video here.